Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. I'm here to talk about how to declutter and organize with pets because a lot of times they have a lot of stuff, especially if you get them when they're little and they grow bigger and they outgrow a lot of things or they change food multiple times. And it's a good time because a lot of the shelters are looking for donations for things, and probably a lot of it is sitting unused in your house. But before I get into that, the most important thing when decluttering with animals is safety, because I was going through our old cleaning supplies cupboard, and at the back there was some really old, dusty, corrosive material, and obviously I couldn't put it on the floor. So I put it in a bag, rebagged that bag, and put that bag in the garage because I have to do a load to the biohazard waste place. But safety, most items aren't that bad, especially, but when you're doing your garage or your shed and you have, windshield washer fluid and antifreeze and all that stuff, make sure to keep your pets out of the room because that can be really, really dangerous for them. Okay. Moving on to pets, the first and most obvious thing is if you have a spare set of towels that you use for your animal, make sure that they're all clean and they're all washed and you can get to all of them. Sometimes if they're stacked in the back of a closet, mice or chipmunks can get to them and chew on them, so do be careful of that. We actually got a donation when we got Kaya because my mom's friend was cleaning out her cabana and she wanted a whole new set of towels, so we got big, thick, red towels, probably about 40 of them, and we're still going through them. But every time Kaya goes to camp for more than a day or two, you're required to send a towel with them. So I send one of Kaya's red towels, and we still have a monster-sized garbage bag and a half of those. But if you have extra, please donate them to the shelter. I'm sure they would absolutely love them. I did do a trip somewhat recently to the SPCA to donate some of Kaya's old stuff, but I'm going to go through that as we go down. Things they outgrow, for sure. Kaya had one coat that she outgrew. She had some smaller collars that she outgrew. There's some toys that she doesn't like anymore. When she was younger, she liked stuffed toys and softer toys, but as she got older she just started pulling the seams out and ripping all the stuffing out, so there was still some that hadn't been destroyed. And anything with a squeaker she used to like, and she won't go anywhere near them anymore. She's actually afraid of squeakers. So I took all those toys, put them in a bag, and they're sitting in my car for the next time I drive past the SPCA. There are some little toys. I think there's a Kong in there, but do make sure to go through that stuff. Kaya had one big sturdy plastic tub with all of her stuff in it, but you have to go through it once in a while because they do change their preference on toys just like children, so make sure that you're donating their old stuff if it's not disgusting or torn or any of that stuff. If they do have a lot of toys, you can get a really cheap toy box. I got Kaya's at the kids section in Walmart, I think. When I got hers, it has little dinosaurs all over it, but something really simple. It has a frame and then cloth wrapped around it. It fits more than all of her toys. It used to be full, but since she stopped playing with them as much, it's probably about this much of the whole bin, which is probably about this high. But it's easy access to her if she wants to get them, but it keeps them all in one place as much as I try. A lot of times she goes in, pulls them out, and they end up all over the house, which is pretty normal for us. But old equipment. So for Kaya, we had a pen when she was younger until she was potty trained to keep her downstairs. I actually sold it 3 days ago, and her old crate got picked up last night. Her crate, she outgrew it at about 6 months, but she doesn't really use it anymore because she doesn't go to the bathroom inside. She sleeps loose in the house because she prefers it. It's easier for her to adjust her body temperature because of where we live. But a lot of times rescues and shelters can really use those things. So do make sure to ask, because a lot of A lot of their sites will give you lists of items that they're looking for, so check that out. Cleaning products. A lot of times when they're puppies, you have, puppy pads and deodorizers and stain remover and all the things that clean up if they go to the bathroom inside. But once they're potty trained, you don't need that anymore. So there's a lot of extra. I know we have some carpet stuff. If they go to the bathroom on the carpet, once it's dry, you put the powder stuff on it and vacuum over it, and it gets rid of the smell. It's really handy, but she doesn't go pee inside anymore. So now we have 2.5 containers of this carpet stuff. Make sure to always have a skunk spray of some kind made, because you definitely want that available if that does happen. But do make sure to go through those things, and if they have any old expired treats, do make sure to get rid of those, because don't want to give them anything that'll make them sick. In terms of cleaning, I find because Kaya sheds so much, it's a lot of Swiffering for sure, because we do have hardwood at that end of the house and we have carpet at this end. So if I'm doing yoga on my floor and I'm doing a pose that requires me to be on my stomach and I get up, there's hair all over my stomach, so I have to keep up with that. But a lot of times when they're younger, they'll come in and they're wet, or they just run like crazy and get paw prints, on the wall and all over the place. So do make sure to wipe them down, because it can be a little chaotic, especially when you first get them. I know it was for us, but it's a good way to keep on top of things. Grooming supplies, poop bags, all of that stuff. Some people have a shelf or a shelf in a cupboard or something like that. Personally, I bought one of those things that goes in the front hall that has a shelf on the top and then a bunch of hooks. And Kaya has her collars and her leash. She has a backup because her leash is quite old now, and a backup collar in case this one breaks, because we have had that happen before. But on the top we have her brushes, her nail trimmer, her toothbrush, her poop bags, and then in the kitchen, which is where her food is, she has a shelf that has the Rescue Remedy, the ingredients to make her shampoo, because I do home make it, and the recipe is on my website if you want to check that out. But all the things like that. Has a section for her treats. She does have a little treat, like cookie jar type thing. You take the lid off and give her one. For her food, it's raw, obviously. So it's frozen in the freezer, and I take it out the day before. I went to the dollar store, bought 2 really big Tupperwares, and I put one in each side and shove it in the fridge, and then by the next day it's thawed. And we rotate those because she goes through the food quite fast, and they change the size of the things. Her supplements, she's on an herbal supplement right now for her stomach, but it started to upset her digestion because she's been on it about 2 weeks. So I switched her back to her old pumpkin and probiotics, and it seems to get better. Probiotics do have to be stored in the fridge, and the pumpkin, once open, also has to be stored in the fridge. So she has her own little section in there. She also has her own set of utensils, because once the utensil touches the raw food repeatedly, I don't particularly want to eat using that utensil. But in general, just make sure that they're safe. Most people, they keep one corner of their house or their kitchen for their pets. They have their stuff, they get their kibble bag out of the cupboard and that's their section. But a lot of times they can be overwhelming, especially if you have multiple dogs or very hairy dogs. But collecting their toys at night and putting them all in their bin is a good start. I actually have the bottom shelf down there is where all of Kaya's treats go, and bones and things, because people step on them in the middle of the night, and that's not fun for anyone. I gave her a big fat bone like this big yesterday, and made sure to put it somewhere safe so nobody would step on it. But it can be quite overwhelming, and a lot of times it gets put on the back burner when we think about cleaning our house. We do the basics, but then it's, maybe our pet's bed needs a wash, or maybe our pet themselves needs a bath or a grooming or something, and sometimes they get a little bit lost. So try to keep up with it. Personally, I try to write down the last time I gave her a haircut or she had a bath, and then track forward how far she usually needs one, and then I'll write it down and just make sure to check. Say, okay, every month kind of needs a groom. So say I last did it on this date, so I'll check again in a month to see how long. Usually it's easier to keep up with the grooming because I don't do that much. I just do her pants, her feet, because she has a lot of hair in here, and sometimes her ears because she gets a lot on this side of the ear. But really, she's pretty low maintenance that way. I don't do a lot with her. But the bath, sometimes, it's on schedule, and then she goes out and rolls into mud, and it gets stuck to her, and she doesn't like the hose, so we have to go give her a bath. And that's fine. Life happens. But try and stay on top of it. It can be overwhelming for sure. But a lot of people have other people do their nails and grooming and baths, so just make sure to book it, even book in advance. When you do the last one, just book the next one. Say roughly a month, I'll call you and let you know if I need to move it, but it makes sure that you have it already down so that your pets are taken care of and you don't have to worry about it. Before I ramble anymore, that's all I have to say for today. I don't remember what we're talking about next week, but it's going to be good. Tune in.